So I mean, when you look at crews at the World Championships, and I know you love to look at, what's going on. You see crews at regattas or World Championships. What do you make of particular crews, like, who you look at and admire, or you find really interesting? Who if you think back to maybe 2019 or 2018.
Wow. I mean, it's complicated to. I mean, of course there are crews that I totally admire. I mean, it's interesting. For example, the Australian men's sweep program. It's There's obviously a very clear idea behind that, and I think that's always impressive, and it's a sign of very strong coaching when you see that. And I think it's fascinating, the Italian rowing technique, that if everyone would on a world row without everyone would have a plain rowing suit, it is certain nations or certain coaches you would always figure, and I think that's very interesting. And generally, I just I love to, like you said, I love to cycle around at the rowing course and get an what's going on, and especially what teams are doing in training and preparation, and get a feeling for, if they're coming more from the sprint side of the rowing to the 2Ks or more endurance. It's very interesting how they do that, and try to get a feeling for what trends are in world rowing. Like, I think it's very clear that their high rating is back on the move in world rowing since 2 years, I think.
Why do you think that is?
Pardon?
Why do you think that is? The rating is getting higher.
Yeah, I think every team is getting more professional in the world. Like, we see a lot of professionalism, full-time athletes with a lot of time for training. And the more time you have for training, the higher training volumes you can do, the higher the endurance is, and the higher the endurance is, the higher ratings you can do. And I think that's like I think a trend. I don't have any data. It's just me guessing here. But I think that the training volume internationally is gone up in the last years, and I think the rating is getting higher because athletes are able to rate higher for 2Ks than it used to be. The material is getting stiffer and stiffer. So the more precise direct rowing, shorter rowing, core stroke is you can drive the boats short and hard. Like 10 years ago, the boats have definitely not been as hard. Like the wing rigger, for example, like the bow wing is supporting this development. I think that you can catch hard and direct and short, and the boat immediately reacts. I think this is a few possibilities why this is like that. But
that's really interesting, because I remember the Australian 4 in 2017 and 2018, very high rating, and then last year, I don't know what happened. I don't know if you saw that race, but they were kind of out of it after 500, but a very high rating as well.
Oh yeah, I have to say, 2017, 2018, I admired that 4. That was very impressive to look at, and of course I watched the race a lot and try to understand it. I wouldn't write them off. That was just one bad race. You never know. Maybe a guy was sick or what, or I don't know. You never know. It's hard to tell. I wouldn't make any judgments there, but I'm 100% sure they will be back next year.
Yeah.
What
about the way they paddle around with a very definite pause at the finish? That's the Australian men's 4, the Australian men's 8, the sweep boats, I guess. The scullers don't seem to do that so much, but that's an influence that has gone over to some other crews that seem to have developed that little pause at the finish as they paddle along.
And what's you want to hear my opinion on that, or what's
Yeah,
the question?
you'd love to.
Yeah. Now I think it's they get the masses of the rowers very precise together. I think they have good. They all have extreme well connected ankles, knees, and hips, and I think so that the force transferation is all very good. If I like it or not, it's not really. It's shown to be fast, but also it's interesting in the race. The break is gone. So
yeah. You've not been tempted to try it with your crews?
No, yeah, I like the boat. I like to let the boat run in the back turns, but a break. I don't think that's the key to their rowing, but it's just me guessing again. I think they're just extremely precise. That's just like there's some smartness to it, like especially with the hip work, and they're just very horizontal during the stroke. It's very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very, very good rowing.
And from what I gather, Ian Wright's brought in a lot of competitive work at Canberra, so they do a lot of side-by-side training. What's your view on that?
Yeah, I don't know what they do, and competitiveness training is very good, but I think it's like finishing a topic about the Australians, but I think for our point of view, I think the load control is very important. And so I think you need to have a balance between hard sessions, like sparring sessions, competitive sessions, and easy sessions. I think that motorically, if you row with pressure all the time, I don't think you can develop a good boat feel. I think very easy and light sessions are very important for developing sports motorical new movement programs. So I think it's absolutely important. Rowing is a highly competitive sport, and you need to have that. But I think it needs to be, that's what I believe, a strong balance between like easy paddling and hard pulling.
I was talking to a couple of the Dutch scullers, Dirk Utenbogard and Stefan Breuning, and I think it was one of them that said one of the big learnings for them was to try not to win in the steady pieces the whole time, but to try and go less hard. I think it was maybe Stefan Breuning, the single sculler from last year, to go less hard, and he got more boat speed with lower heart rate as a result.
Yeah, that's what we're all looking for.
Yeah.
More and less pain.
Yeah. Which crews stood out for you at the 2019 World Championships, Robert?
Netherlands men's quad.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, we all agree on that, I guess, in world rowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's extremely interesting. I think the development of the Netherlands program. They all row so beautiful. The boats are running all so nicely, and it looks effortless. And that's something really that I guess everyone is looking at the moment. How this transfers into 2021.
Yeah,
I think it's very impressive what's going on there.
Yeah, and one of the boats that people have looked towards as being effortless is the German men's 8 over a number of years. And I know you will have had some that when I talk to someone like Mike Tatey and I say, who do you like to watch at the World Championships? And he says, I love watching the German men's 8 paddle. How has that technique and that process developed? Because it seems to work for them in the 8, not so much in the other sweep boats.
Well, the best athletes are sitting in the 8 traditionally in the sweep program in Germany. So that's I think that's the main reason for pair and 4 not performing on such a large scale. And the whole training process is steered in direction men's 8. Yeah. And yes, they have a very good system that is centralized in Dortmund with smart coaches, with a very, very good assistant coach, Martin Sauer, in the steering seat. That is a lot of experience in this and confidence in this whole team, and that's of course impressive to see. And what I think is that Uwe Bender and before that Ralf Holtmeier, they have a calm and strong hand in leading that group.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's never a revolution. It's always an evolution, and I think it's one of the key for the success of this team. They do a lot rowing in the eights. They know each other very well, and they are never extreme changes. So I think they control the development process of the boat very, very well.
They've done really well in the last Olympiad because they haven't always been in front. They've had to win races, from not leading at 500 meters.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks very tight between them and the Dutch now. With I know the Dutch have got the guys from the US back in the 8 full time, and that Olympic final, should it happen, promises to be a great race.
Bloody oath, yes. I'm really looking forward to that. That's going to be interesting. Like, and especially seeing that the Dutch with the men's squad, they have found obviously a program and a setup in training that is really beneficial to the whole team. So the Dutch, I thought, were already very impressive in Rotterdam. The Dutch men's 8 on the bad outside lane.
Yeah.
They were very close there. It's interesting. It's interesting. I mean, they have a very. I mean, what I still think is unseen is the end speed of the German 8, like second 250. They're always no one can follow, or I'm not sure if anyone wants to follow or can't do it. That's the interesting question. If the top speed, I think, is still the German 8 in charge.
Yeah. That's really interesting. In terms of, I'm just wondering, just to a little bit of changing subject. How much do you put the ergometer in your training sessions, Robert? And what about the Concept 2 and the RP3? Because talking to the Dutch guys, they use the RP3 now to train with. So all their testing and training is on that machine. How much do you use the ergometer in your program, and what's your views on that?
We use the ergometer quite a lot, full stop. I think it's very important to give you a good feedback of where you're at physiologically. We use both ergometers. It's of course for developing like hip stability and timing, all that. The RP3 is much better. I'm not super familiar with it. We have just started working with it in the last 2 years. I still like to work with the Concept 2s because you have a lot of every athlete has a lot of experience with it, and you can show developments over the last years. So that's why I still like it. But we work with both ergometers. We work a lot.
Yeah. And what sort of balance do you do between testing and flat out pieces and long pieces on the ergometer?
I can't generalize that.
Okay.
It has a lot to do with the periodization of the year. It has to do with the kind of athlete. Is an athlete more coming from the endurance base of the years of training? That's highly individual. This intensity distribution. I like long and easy sessions, and I like short and hard sessions on the ergs. That's for sure.
And so when you talked about Magdalena's improving her scores on the rowing machine, would that be over the 2,000 meter distance, the test distance?
Yes. Nothing else counts. All the rest is just giving hints where the weaknesses and strengths are, but 2,000 meters is where it's at. Yeah.
And what kind of range are you looking at for 2,000 meters for a top medalist in the women's and the guys in the 4? I guess what kind of range are you looking at, or does that? I'm just wondering, are you more influenced by how much they can pull on the ergometer or what they look like on the water, or is it a mixture of both?
Oh, it's a mixture of both. I like rowing on the ergometer is earning before tax, and rowing on the water is earning after tax. It's like, you know, they both influence each other.
Yeah.
So definitely the erg is extremely important. Every rower needs to be able to pull a good erg. I mean, there's every now and then there is the odd one that doesn't pull a good erg and is still internationally successful, but the other way around, if you like, most of the rowers that internationally are successful have spent a lot of time on the erg and are generally pretty good on the erg.
Yeah. So I guess your four, I'm not asking you to tell me the scores, but I guess your men's four, those young guys, they'd be sub 6 and looking to move to 550s.
Oh yeah, we're looking forward to move sub 550s. They're all sub 6, but you know, there's room for improvement. The indication of the training in the last weeks shows that we should heading sub 550s very soon.
Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. And
on the concept 2. On the concept 2.
On the concept 2, yeah. I think the RP3 is slightly easier to get sub 550 with.
Yeah, generally the moving, like if you put the concept 2 on the sliders, it's like, you know, every time when you get the rating up, it makes the rating easier.
Yeah.
Rating RP3 a lot easier, and that's you know, I guess that's the main reason why you can gain higher speeds there.
Yeah.
But that's why I like the concept 2 sometimes too, because you still have to move your own body weight much more. Like, you know, it's, if you want to rate high on a concept 2, you got to be really fit.
Yeah. And do you get a chance to work out now much at all? Or are you so busy that?
No, you sound like my wife. No, unfortunately not at the moment. I hope that the last 3 months have been intense here. So unfortunately, everyone can see it that I'm not working out a lot, but I hope that it gets better in future.
Yeah.